Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. I'm James McGowan.
I'm Jessica Faust.
We are literary agents who have taken our popular blog to YouTube to discuss all things publishing. And today we are answering a viewer question. So Commentoria asked, can you please do a video of what to do after an agent asks for your manuscript? So it's always exciting when you get that request from an agent. If you're coming here after you've received one, congratulations. We have a small checklist for you to run through. If you're still waiting for that first request or your next request, bookmark this and come back to it before you do anything.
Yep.
So we've got a few, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 10 steps for you. I love the 10 things video. We rarely hit 10, but we've got 10 steps. The first one is the maybe not so obvious one, but that's to celebrate. Take a few moments to be excited about your request, celebrate it, jump up and down, have a drink, do whatever it is that you do to celebrate, but take that time to celebrate before you do anything else.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot in other videos, but we need to celebrate all the things. And this is a big deal.
Actually, we have
So,
a whole video on what to celebrate. So if you're hard up for ideas, find that, watch it, make the list. Celebrate
that is
everything we
true.
tell you to celebrate.
That is true. And do it whatever works for you. Champagne, chocolate, a dinner out, a happy dance. I tend to do happy dances and champagne and chocolate and maybe a dinner out.
Yeah, all of the above.
All
But
of
I
the
think
above.
this has two benefits, right? The first is you're celebrating, you should celebrate. It's hard work. You deserve to celebrate it. The second is, I think, getting all of the emotion out before you do anything, because it's good to be clear-headed when you're about to send a request for the many reasons that we're going to tell you in this video. So after you've celebrated, come back to it and read the request letter. You might think you know what that agent is looking for, but read what they've said to you. Read for enthusiasm. How did they respond? What did they love about it? Did they tell you anything? But also carefully make sure that you know what that agent is looking for. Are they asking you for a full? Are they asking you for a partial manuscript? Do agents still ask for partials?
You know, I think some do actually. And honestly, it's probably old school agents who are just used to that and have been doing it for years. So yeah, I think some do.
Yeah, well, so then find out, are they asking for your whole manuscript or just a portion of that manuscript? Do they want a synopsis? Do they not want a synopsis? Is there any other information that they're asking for you to send when you send your materials?
Yeah. Yep. That's it. And just know what you need to send because it might be different from every agent. So don't assume.
Yes. Okay, so now you've got that figured out, your little checklist of what you've got to pull together. Once you find your manuscript, make sure you have the right file. It's happened many times where the author has sent the wrong draft, the wrong file version, the wrong manuscript in general. I've gotten that for picture book folks. So make sure you've located the right file and you're not going to send the wrong book.
And one thing I want to add here is sending the wrong file is not a red flag for agents. I think sometimes authors go to this place where we have all these red flag checklist rules that we're looking for. The problem with sending the wrong file is really, I think, what many would assume is even if you follow up and with the right file, you can't guarantee that they'll read the right file. Like for me, it could already be in my Kindle, which is where I do my reading. It could be that when I go to open it and read it, I just grab whatever file happens to be at the top, and it might be the old one or the new one. I can't be sure, and I'm not going to pay that much attention. I'm just going to open the one that I have. So it's just important to make sure that your best foot forward, your best work is being read.
Yeah, but also like avoiding any anxiety and stress, right? Nobody needs that. And I know what it would feel like to send the wrong thing and then stress about it.
Yeah.
And specifically for Query Manager too, there's upload links for where you can put your synopsis, where you can put your submission. It's happened to me before where I've gotten the synopsis twice or the submission twice and didn't get the other file. So just making sure that you've got both of the right files or however many files you need and that they're going to the right place. That's really important.
Yeah, and a little organizational hint and how I organize my clients' files is I have a client folder. And then within that folder, I have a title folder for all the books in that title. And then I have a drafts folder. And everything that's not final gets moved into that drafts folder. So when I go to click something, I know I have the most recent file every single time.
Yeah.
So separating it out so you don't see a lot of the same name would probably help you ensure and feel confident that you're sending the right thing.
That's smart. And there's the common author joke of when you label a file final, and then you label another final 2 and final 3. So just develop a system where your file names are as clear cut as possible.
Yeah, and you know what else I always do is on the first page, which is the cover page for the book, I only put the cover page on the final file. So when it attaches and I can see the preview of the file, if it's the cover page, then I know it's the right file.
That's smart.
Little hinties.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay, so this kind of piggybacks off of making sure you have the right file, but before you send, just do a quick open and make sure that the formatting's there, right? Make sure that your manuscript is double spaced in a size, usually a size 12 font, in something that's pretty easy to read. Make sure that there's no comments or track changes. We get those a lot too.
Yeah.
But I also think that you just want to have a clear, polished manuscript so that all the agent has to do is open and start reading. No
Yeah, and I know we're going to get comments, which font. Just think of a classic business font, a Courier, a Helvetica. I think Times New Roman usually works, an Arial. Just don't get fancy. Nobody wants fancy. We just want to be able to read it. So that's what I would say about font, double spaced. The other thing about this is if you keep it pretty consistent, size 12, a readable font and double spaced, you're going to please all agents. You know, somebody might say, I prefer this font. You don't have to have 50 manuscripts with 50 different fonts. Just, we all open it, we read it, we see different fonts from time to time. The only problem is if you decide to italicize the whole manuscript or use some fancy font that I can't read, that's where a problem happens. So keep it simple.
Yeah, the only caveat I want to say is if you're writing picture books, it is very common to play with the font, to play with font color, to play with font size too. All of those things can be really helpful for building tension and pacing and whimsy. So I think that's okay, but be mindful of what you're choosing. Don't choose a super light yellow or a super light pink that's hard to read. Don't choose anything that's like really cursive or really italic that's hard to read. Just be mindful that it's easy for people to read what you've put on the paper and then play with it.
Yeah. Well,
so
I think picture book is easier, right? Because I'm not reading 400 just words.
Right. And it's usually like there's a lot of white space on the page too. But we have, we have books where the font will slowly get bigger to show like a tension or stuff like that. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. So the next thing is once you're feeling like you've got the right manuscript, it's polished. Did I skip something?
No, I'm afraid you're going to. So I wanted to, because you mentioned comments or track changes. I want to make sure we talk about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I did skip something. See, yeah. So comments and track changes. Yeah, if you're using Word or Google Sheets, or I think Pages even has it now too. You can leave comments and track changes while you're revising. Your critique partners might do it. If you have an editor might do it. You might do it for yourself to make sure you come back to something. For me, I always feel like that's sort of betraying your process a little bit. And I think it's helpful when I'm reading it to not see those, because then like, what if there's a comment there that I agree with and it wasn't implemented? I also think that it makes things smaller, right? It has that whole review pane on the side. If you're on Kindle, they pop up in the middle of the text as like little comment numbers. They can just be distracting and unnecessary. So make sure that they're all accepted, deleted, implemented, whatever you want to do, and final. So
it's not enough to hide them. Know this. It's not enough to hide them. They'll still pop up. And
that's your setting, only your setting. So if I don't have track changes hidden, they'll pop up for me.
Yeah. So you need to make sure that they are gone.
Yeah. I think that's true. I don't think I lied about that, right? Like the track changes setting. Okay.
I don't think you did, but if we're wrong, please put it in the comments. But I guess you should know that. That before you send it. It's good. And we ask the same of our clients before I go out on submission with the client's manuscript. Once we've done our revisions and we're ready to go, I always send it back and say, we're ready to go. As far as I'm concerned, you do the review, you clear out the comments and track changes, and you send me the final copy in case they have any little things they want to add.
But I don't want that pressure.
No. And I think sometimes the author needs to have the final look before sending it over to me. So that's something you just have to know how to do.
Yeah, and a quick pro tip, if you're in Word and you've got like one little track change left, but you can't find it, click the review tab and you can click accept or accept
Mhm.
all changes and stop tracking. And when you'll know that your manuscript is final, if you don't have them hidden, you'll know it's final when that little bar on the side goes away and you have gray on both sides.
Yes, good point. Good point.
Okay, now that you've done that, we think you're ready to send it over. So go for it. Just pull the plug, not the plug.
The
Oh, pull
trigger.
what is it?
Trigger. It's a
Pull the
trigger.
trigger and go. Pull the plug is not what I meant. But yeah, it's just time to send it over. Don't overthink it. Don't stress it out. Make sure that you've got everything. Send it over in the right way and get it in the agent's hand. The sooner the better so that they can start reading it.
And we didn't have this on the list, but then like give yourself a
Do it
high
again.
five, celebrate a little. You did
Yeah.
it. Take a deep breath, go for a walk, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And
Do
I know
another
it's
dance. Get another
nerve-wracking, but
dinner.
good for you.
Have as many dinners out as you possibly can afford. Do it again. So this is a little plug, but we think it's a good idea. After that, go watch our videos. We have a ton of videos on the querying process, on when and how to follow up with that agent if they haven't responded by a certain amount of time, or how to handle an offer of representation. Maybe presumptuous, but we like to be presumptuous, and
Yeah,
it's definitely
be
fine to be
confident.
prepared. So watch them, make sure you're feeling confident and comfortable about the whole process. And then this way, whatever comes next, you're ready for it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so the timeline, how long should you wait or how quickly should you send? Maybe those are two different questions.
Yeah.
So
And
first,
how
how
long should
quickly
you
should you
wait
send?
before sending the material is I think what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
And I think it should go within 24 hours personally, because when I request something, I'm usually often antsy to see it, not always, but sometimes. And you want to jump on that if you can. But also, in the grand scheme, if you are panicking and feeling like the book isn't ready, then you shouldn't be querying anyway.
yeah.
So have all the materials ready. In fact, you could probably do this checklist when you start querying so that you know it's all ready. But send it quickly. I think it's always a mistake if 6 months later I still don't have it. And I am sort of a compulsive cleaner, so is James, so he'll relate to this. I can't stand it when a request is sitting in my inbox for 6 months. So then usually I do sort of since I didn't receive your materials, I've assumed you moved on. Please feel free to query me again and close it out, because it drives me nuts to have something sitting there that's not happening. So be ready to send it when you start querying, and send it within 24 hours.
Yeah, the truth is it shouldn't take 6 months because you should not be querying if that book is not done.
Yeah.
So you should have it ready to go.
Yeah.
I think a week, 2 weeks if you're on vacation is
Well, I was
totally
going to
fine.
add, if you're on vacation, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Don't go,
yeah.
oh my God, you don't have to email the agent, I think, to say I'm on vacation. I'll get it when I
No.
get back. You can, but you don't have to. I think just as soon as you can, if you can do 24 hours, if you're on vacation or
Yeah.
you don't see it or whatever, that's fine. Do it when you do it as quickly as you can.
Yeah, I agree. I think anything longer than like 2 weeks, it's what are you waiting for? I want to see it.
Yeah.
But if life is busy, it's totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so this video actually came about because somebody had tweeted, and I think another agent had tweeted that we don't need an email on when you get another request. So there are some things that we don't think you need to do,
Yeah.
like sending an email if you get a request, sending an email if you change some typos. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
There are the times to contact an agent after querying is actually going to be our next video. So keep an eye out for that one. So that's your next step on this list, to watch our next video. And your final step is to just have patience, which is the hardest step, I would say.
It's good to know when the agent's timeline is usually and how long it takes them to read. I think mine is 8 to 12 weeks. I know I can get backed up for up to 3 to 6 months sometimes. So it really is worthwhile just to be patient. There is not a correlation. There can be, but there's not always a correlation with how fast somebody reads. How fast somebody reads means they were very excited about it, and it also means they had the time to read it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am also on vacation, or, have got a bunch of things from clients or something like that. So while I'm enthusiastic, I just didn't get to it super fast or as fast as another agent, but I don't think that speed always correlates with enthusiasm.
I always like to say, when I am going fast, that speed is usually enthusiasm. But when I'm not going fast, it's not lack of enthusiasm.
Correct.
They're
Yes.
not exclusive.
I like that.
But
I actually have a bonus one that I thought of when we were
yeah.
talking. Write your next book.
Oh,
You should already
yeah.
be doing that because you should have started doing that when you were querying. But the best way to burn off the anxiety or the thoughts about what's the agent doing is to be working on that next book. And there's a pretty good chance in an offer call, an agent's going to ask what else you're working on or what your vision is for your career. So having that in hand is a good thing. So be doing that too.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So that concludes our checklist for when and how to send a request. We hope it was helpful. Like I mentioned, don't forget to watch next week's video for when to contact an agent after querying. I think it'll be really helpful to fit into this little checklist somewhere. But in the meantime, we have tons of videos on the channel, so go watch them. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye.